Ancient wealth secrets that built the world's first millionaires. Most people believe millionaires are a modern invention, born out of Wall Street, Silicon Valley, or the Industrial Revolution. But here's the shocking truth, my friend. Long before banks, hedge funds, and Bitcoin, there were people amassing fortunes so vast they would rival today's billionaires. The world's first millionaires weren't wearing suits, they weren't trading stocks, and they didn't build social media apps. They were merchants, landowners, moneylenders, and rulers who understood something you don't. The timeless principles of wealth never change, only the tools do. So if you think becoming wealthy is some 21st century phenomenon, you've already been lied to. The ancients cracked the code centuries ago, and today, you're about to discover those secrets. This is Billionaire Fortress, where ambitious people like you come to learn what the textbooks forgot to teach. If you're serious about wealth, power, and financial freedom, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how the ancients built fortunes that lasted generations, and how you can use those same principles today. 10 Ancient Wealth Secrets. Number 10. Land ownership was the ultimate status symbol. In ancient times, land wasn't just real estate, it was power. The Romans knew this. The Egyptians knew this. Even the feudal lords of medieval Europe knew this. Why? Because land produces wealth in three ways. It grows food, it houses people, and it commands respect. If you own land, you weren't just rich, you controlled the very resources people depended on to survive. Ignore this truth, and you'll forever rent your life away, making other people rich. The unsuccessful today treat land like an expense, while the wealthy treat it like an asset. Modern application: buy assets that people need, not just want. Land, property, and resources will always outperform trends. 9. Trade routes made millionaires before banks did. Before Wall Street, there was the Silk Road. Before hedge funds, there were spice routes. Wealthy merchants in places like Babylon, Alexandria, and Venice became today's equivalent of millionaires simply by controlling trade routes. Here's the secret: they understood geography is destiny. If you control the flow of goods, you control the flow of money. The unsuccessful sat at home, complaining about prices. The wealthy risked caravans across deserts and oceans because they knew fortune favors the bold. Modern application: today's trade routes are digital platforms, supply chains, and logistics. Learn to own distribution, and you'll always have leverage. 8. The power of gold and silver. Paper money is a recent experiment. For thousands of years, gold and silver were the universal language of wealth. The Egyptians buried themselves with it. The Romans hoarded it. Ancient India and China minted coins from it. Why? Because gold and silver never lose their shine. While empires rise and fall, precious metals keep their value. Ignore this, and you'll become a victim of inflation. Poor people trust paper, rich people trust assets. Modern application: hedge your wealth. Own something that outlasts governments and currencies. Gold, silver, crypto, whatever stands outside inflation is your shield. 7. Debt was always a curse. It was a weapon. Babylonians invented something revolutionary: lending. The wealthy realized they didn't need to work for money if they could make money work for them. By financing wars, crops, and even temples, the first moneylenders became millionaires without lifting a finger. Debt crushed the poor, but it created empires for the rich. Unsuccessful people today borrow to consume. Successful people borrow to invest. That's the ancient difference. Modern application: learn how to use debt strategically. The ancients already knew: control credit, and you control power. 6. Diversification saved fortunes from collapse. The world's first millionaires weren't gamblers, they were strategists. Phoenician traders, for example, didn't rely on one market. They shipped timber, glass, dyes, and more across the Mediterranean. They understood the principle of spreading risk. If one ship sank, another would bring fortune. Ignore this, and a single failure can wipe you out. Poor people put all their eggs in one basket. Wealthy people build multiple streams. Modern application: multiple income sources are not a luxury, they're survival. 5. Luxury was a business, not just a pleasure. Rome was obsessed with luxury. Silk from China, spices from India, perfumes from Arabia, these weren't needs, they were desires. And whoever controlled the luxury trade controlled status and profit. Here's the catch: poor people were the buyers, rich people were the sellers. Luxury wasn't about consumption, it was about supply. The unsuccessful spend on luxury to look rich. The successful sell luxury to get rich. Modern application: stop flexing, start profiting. If you love luxury, own the brands, not just the bags. 4. Knowledge was the most expensive commodity. Why do you think the Library of Alexandria was so heavily guarded? Knowledge was wealth. The rich hired scribes, philosophers, and mathematicians to give them an edge in trade, war, and governance. The poor relied on superstition. The rich invested in strategy. Ignore this, and you'll always be manipulated by someone who knows more. Modern application: education is the real currency. In every era, those who invest in specialized knowledge rise above the masses. 3. Connections were more valuable than cash. From ancient Rome's patronage system to China's merchant guilds, who you knew was often more important than what you had. A poor man with the right connection could rise to wealth. A wealthy man without allies could lose everything overnight. Unsuccessful people chase money, successful people chase influence. Modern application: your network is your net worth. Don't just grind alone, build alliances. 2. Generational wealth was the endgame. The world's first millionaires didn't think in years, they thought in dynasties. Pharaohs, Roman senators, and noble families built systems where their children and grandchildren would inherit not just wealth, but power. The poor lived for today, the rich built legacies. Modern application: if you're not thinking about what your grandchildren inherit, you're still playing the short game. 1. Control over scarcity created untouchable wealth. Here's the ultimate secret: the richest people in history didn't sell what was abundant, they sold what was scarce. Salt in Rome, spices in medieval Europe, oil in the Middle East. If people couldn't live without it and you controlled it, you were untouchable. Ignore this, and you'll spend your life fighting over commodities that anyone can supply. Find your monopoly, own the thing others can't easily copy. Scarcity creates kings. Now let me ask you directly, my friend, which of these ancient secrets are you missing in your own life? Are you wasting money on luxury instead of profiting from it? Are you building assets, or are you still making someone else rich? Tell me in the comments. I want to see where you stand. And don't just sit back. If you're serious about wealth, hit that like button right now. It tells me you're part of the few who are ready to step into power, not just watch from the sidelines. If you stayed this long, here's your bonus. The world's first millionaires weren't the richest of their time. The richest were the ones who kept their wealth hidden. Why? Because flaunting wealth was dangerous. It invited envy, robbery, and even execution. The wisest millionaires didn't show off. They built quietly, invested secretly, and lived with discretion. And here's the provocative truth. Maybe you shouldn't be chasing recognition. Maybe the real wealth game is to build so strong that you never need validation. Think about that. The ancients didn't have apps, stock exchanges, or NFTs, yet they built fortunes that lasted centuries. That's the proof, my friend. Wealth is not about the tools, it's about the principles. If you take anything from this video, let it be this. Your choices today are shaping your legacy tomorrow. You can live like the poor, consuming, wasting, complaining. Or you can live like the ancient wealthy, building, owning, and controlling. The question is, which side are you on? If you enjoyed this, smash the subscribe button and turn on notifications, because at Billionaire Fortress, we don't just talk about money, we reveal the secrets behind it. Drop a comment with the secret you'll apply first, and let's see who's serious about stepping into wealth. Until next time, remember, Wealth isn't invented, it's preserved, protected, and passed on. Play the game like the ancients, and one day, people will study your legacy.
No, 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 no.